Today, my guest is Dalya Shaw. In 2017, Dalya experienced every parent's worst nightmare in the sudden and devastating loss of her only child, Ben, at just 15 years old. She has learned a lot since then and is passionate about helping and supporting young people cope with their grief and other parents who have experienced this heartbreaking loss. A skilled communicator, Dalya has combined her love of writing and motivational speaking. Through her lived experience, she shares her story to uplift, inspire, and empower. She encourages others to keep going whatever challenges they face and teaches the importance of facing adversity to build resilience. She is a testament to the fact that we are always stronger than we think. There we go. Hi, Dalya. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Oh, gosh. Now, I'm all about unraveling grief to rediscover joy. And I have just told everybody about what you've been through with losing your Ben, your 15-year-old Ben, 4.5 years ago. So can you tell me a bit, like, I've heard that you have a fantastic partner. I'd love to hear about that and how you grieve, how you get through this, how you live your life.
It's interesting. If there's one thing I've learned is that everybody does this so differently. And it surprised me, I suppose, also how differently I've even done it at sort of various stages. It's, I'm 4.5 years down the track now, and I have this, I suppose, I had this perception that, I'm 4.5 years down the track, and where I'm thinking here is leading into Christmas, leading into Mother's Day. And I'm like, I've got this sorted, and well and truly fell off the rails. So it sort of changes, I think, as we go. But I suppose I have put a couple of things in place. I find when I shift the focus from me, and it sounds so cliche, but when I shift the focus from me and I think about the kids, or I think about somebody else, or I connect with another mother, that actually seems to not make me forget about my own stuff, but helps me work through it. The focus isn't on me anymore, I suppose. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, yes. So tell me about kids. I know Ben is your only child.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are the kids you're talking about?
Oh my goodness. So Benny was my IVF baby. But what he did was he gave me the most precious gift, probably when he was about, I'd say 12 or 13 years old. And I don't think I fully appreciated it until after he was gone. And the gift was a full, all areas access to his network of friends. So he would be on the phone, and I would regularly have conversations with these kids. He would send me text messages sometimes saying, hey, Mum, Anita's coming home with me after school. We'll talk to you later. And I would write back saying, okay, fine. Who's Anita and is she okay? And he would say, yep, she's fine. I'll explain later. Love you, Mum. And so Anita, or whoever it was, would rock up at our place after school. And this is kind of how it all started. So, and I think, they would just sit and chat. And I wasn't treated, I suppose, like a mother, but I also wasn't treated like a friend. They just shared everything with me. And that's kind of how it started. After we lost Ben, this continued. And so the friends, I still have I think it's crazy, half my Facebook is, under 22-year-olds. But yeah, the friends, Ben's friends and I are still in regular close touch. I was out with 2 of them last week. I have one boy who regularly comes over now, and now he brings his girlfriend. He stays at our place, I would say, probably every 4 to 5 weeks. And spends the weekend, and he's got his own bedroom here, and yeah, all the kids know that there's always a bedroom made up, and whoever wants to come and stay just comes and stays. It's given me an interesting insight, though, into how they grieve and what goes on in their life. And, some of the stuff they tell me, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if you should be telling me that. Like, that's way too much detail,
Oh, wow.
But I feel very privileged, and I feel really honored that that they will come to me. So, and it's cathartic for me as well.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
That
yeah,
is so special, though. But for Ben to open up at 12 or 13 years old, open his life to you,
very
like
much
that's
so.
when they actually turn in and,
I
try to
know.
get away from parents like you horrible people.
I know.
Or like
I
horrible.
know.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true. No, I think we were, Ben wasn't a typical 15-year-old. And so I parented differently to other parents and maybe opened myself up to criticism, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And Ben was a different kid. He was super mature for his age. I think probably because he was an older child, and he hung out with kids much older than him. And we just had no secrets. So, I mean, I shared things with him that maybe parents wouldn't normally share, okay, this is what our budget looks like, or this is where I'm at in my relationship at the moment, or whatever. So I didn't keep secrets from him, and he then didn't keep secrets from me. So there was nothing that I didn't know when all was said and done that I hadn't known before. So there was no surprises, which was kind of special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was almost like an unspoken agreement that we had, that we respected each other's privacy. It never went any further, but we were there to support each other,
Yeah.
which I think made it that much worse, now that he's not
Yeah.
physically here, at least.
Yeah. That's
Because I
right.
kind of lost that confidant.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm you know what, I'm really lucky, I'm really blessed. Yeah, and I still have all these kids around me, so it's fabulous.
Yeah. So how do you go on? Like you've lost your confidant, and then how do you go on from that?
Oh, look, I think a lot of what I've been doing the last couple of years has been about me building trust again, and just opening my heart, I suppose. And I can sort of touch on my other half now. I've kept really busy. Right from the beginning, I've just, okay, my whole life up until Ben passing was revolved around Ben. So my part-time work, everything I did, my social life, was all Ben was the center of everything. And then it became, I mean, probably this changed when he was in hospital. It very much became then, okay, what would Ben want? So since then, it's been about making my time count, making a difference, and continuing his legacy. So every opportunity I've had to talk about Ben, or to share my experience, or to help another parent, or to work through stuff with the kids, or that's pretty much what's kept me going. I didn't know there was an option to sit in the corner and rock for the rest of my life. And maybe I would have if I knew it. I don't know. But for me, it's very much, you know what, I'm still here. So I've got to make my time count. And that's, yeah, I keep busy, I've got my writing, I've got my speaking, I've got my kids. I do a lot of stuff with the Children's Hospital here in Brisbane, which took a while for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
I've also done some work with Donate Life as well. So it's very much that advocate sort of stuff, that, yeah, helping others and just empowering them, I suppose, to know that whether it's a death or whether it's just another challenge you have in your life, you can get through it. And I'm 4.5 years down the track, following people that are 5, 10, 20 years down the track. And I sort of want to be the path that those that are 5 minutes down the track can then follow. So
Yeah, that's right. And that's the difference, isn't it? Like
very
5
much.
minutes down the track,
Yeah.
and it just changes over
Oh,
the
yes.
years. So much so, and sometimes it's worse, like 20, 30 years later, it still can be
Absolutely.
worse, but it can be better too. Like it's really
Absolutely.
grief living alongside your life as well.
Very much so. It's interesting because I had a message from another mother. What day are we today? Yesterday. And she has the 6th, I beg your pardon, anniversary of her son this year, this week. And she was saying that, and which I completely agree, that the longer it goes, the more years that go by, another layer of almost anxiety kicks in, because we get, well, myself and this other mother anyway, we get scared that we're going to forget things.
Yes.
And as time goes by, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't remember that. Like, what else have I forgotten? And what happens, you know, in 20 years' time? Will I forget them all together? And it's that fear that it's like, how do I keep all this stuff in my head? So time very much changes the way I feel I've approached and reacted to it.
Yeah. And you say you write? What do you write?
I do. Look, I've always loved writing. I mean, I've written lots of bits and pieces over the years. But a couple of years ago, I decided, you know, what am I going to do when I grow up? And so I did a copywriting course. And so I've got several clients that I do content for, but I also write a weekly blog, and that goes on my website. And that's just sort of under the motivational banner. There's a fair bit of grief stuff on there as well, but very empowering and inspiring, I think. Like, I don't want people to be depressed and crying when they leave me. I want them to go, okay, wow, that was a full-on story, but I feel strong for it. I also I write for the newsletter at the Children's Hospital, and wherever I can get some writing done. So yeah, I love it. And for me, it's been a very therapeutic process too, because I've written probably more since it all happened, where it's been able to get my thoughts down on paper and just go, okay, I just need to unload, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I always recommend to my clients that they write a journal.
Yes.
And that's all about, you know, remembering how you are in the moment as well.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
when you read back, it takes you right back to that minute, that second, and you absolutely remember. So you won't ever, you know, we won't ever forget our children, ever.
I hope not.
No. No, well, no, I don't think so. And because they're so much a part of us, like they were in us to start with. So, you know, it's like they are a part of us. But having this journal, and no matter what, you know, some of the days that I wrote, it was just like, you know, today was sunny and I feel like crap.
Yes.
And that's all it is. And it's like, I'm just breathing right now.
Absolutely. It almost takes, for me, it takes the charge out of intense emotions that I'm feeling to get the words on paper. It doesn't make it better, but it does make it a little bit easier, if that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, I'm a huge advocate of journaling, and I've actually spoken to the kids a lot about this, because they don't want to write, obviously.
Oh no,
but it's like, exactly, but it's like, just write a couple of lines. I promise you'll feel better.
Yeah, yes, that's right. I get them to write in their notes in their phone now.
They go,
oh, okay, yeah, I can do that, because that's technology. They know that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned your partner. Tell me how differently he grieved, or how he helped you. What was he like?
Oh, I've been pretty lucky. He's really amazing. So it was interesting. He had never had kids before. So when we met, I obviously told him straight away about Ben, and he quickly realized that my relationship with Ben was not like other friends of his who had kids. We just related differently. When everything went down, I actually pulled him aside at the hospital, and we had actually just got back together. We had been apart for a couple of weeks, but still in communication, but we had just got back together a couple of weeks before, and the three of us had moved into a new place. But when we were in the hospital, I pulled him aside and just said, look, I don't know what's going to happen here. I know you didn't sign up for this, especially knowing that he had never had his own children. And I think it's hard to relate to someone when you haven't experienced children of your own. I pretty much gave him permission to leave, essentially, is what happened. You know, like I'd be sad if you go, but my whole focus now, you know, and I guess in my mind, I'm thinking there could be rehab, there could be wheelchair involved, there could be, I didn't know what was going to happen. And I just wanted him to know that he could go. He didn't, and he said there was no way. And over time, I guess he's been very, very different to everybody else. He just lets me be. And almost to the point that sometimes I'll say, tell me what I'm supposed to be doing here. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. And he's like, I can't tell you what to do. You just need to be. And he's just constantly supportive. He doesn't get where I'm at, and I can't possibly expect him to or explain where I'm at. But we've gotten to the point now where he doesn't need to know where I'm at. I just, he can see a look on my face, or he knows coming up to, high holidays or anniversaries or birthdays and that sort of thing. He knows that I'm going to be touchy for a couple of weeks leading up. And for me, the lead up's always worse than the day. And he just gives me that space. He has said to me a couple of times, I just don't know what to do for you right now. I don't know what to say to you right now. Please tell me if there's anything you need. And it's, most of the time my response is, I don't know what you can do for me right now. I feel like I just need to be. And he'll just wrap me up in his arms and bring me lots of tea and gives me lots of tissues, and he just lets me do what I need to do until, the moment passes. And but there's no judgment. And he's never pushed me to, we moved, so the room was packed up anyway, but there's never been a push to, well, you should cancel his phone account, or you should do this, or you should get rid of his clothes, or whatever. There's never ever been a judgment or an advice thing. It's just, whatever you need to do, I'll just follow on. And I think the other thing that has been amazing with him is, again, not having had children, he's extremely accepting of kids that come and go in our house now. So, the kids will stay and they might go out and they'll get home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know that other adults that haven't got kids of their own, and these are not their kids, I don't know that they would be as accepting as what he is. And he's just, no worries, go to the fridge, where it is, get the food, whatever. And he's amazing. He really is amazing.
Yeah, and see, that non-judgmental thing is so important.
Yes.
Because, you don't know, your grief is your grief, their grief is their grief.
Very much
and
so.
It's so different. And
so.
How long did he know Ben before he died?
Probably it would have been about 1.5 years.
Right. So
about 1.5 years.
Relationship.
Well. They had a great relationship, and it was very different to their relationship that Ben had with his dad and the relationship that Ben had with other, fathers of friends in his life.
Yeah.
My partner treated him very much like an equal, and again, didn't, if Ben asked a question, he got an honest answer, regardless of how shocking it might be, because he wanted that open, honest communication with him, and Ben really respected that. So they had quite a unique relationship, and I don't think I don't think Sean really knew how to take the death or what to do. We haven't spoken too much actually about that. Which is interesting. I guess it's all been about me.
Yes, that's right. That's the important thing.
That's it. But I'm so grateful that they were in each other's lives, though, which I have no doubt they each impacted each other. Yeah,
that's right. And it's great that Sean respected your grief as well.
He's been amazing.
Without imposing himself on you as well.
Completely. He he's familiar with this now, but I leading into Christmas or Mother's Day, it's like I'll go out and I'll do some shopping, or the time I'm sort of thinking just before Christmas, went out to pick up a couple of bits and pieces, and I was fine. I was like, I have this, I've got this, I'm sorted. We don't do Christmas as such anymore, so there was no pressure. And I had a complete meltdown while I was out, came back, and it's almost like he, comes to the door, have you got any shopping kind of thing, takes one look at my face, and just goes, oh, okay, come inside, wraps me up, and I just bawled. And he doesn't ask questions.
Yeah.
He knows that nothing has happened. He knows that I've just had, this crazy moment, and that it will pass. But there's no, it's almost like maybe it's happened so many times now that he just knows what to do. And it's like, okay, good, great. Now I can go on with the rest of my day, sort of thing. So
that's right. And it's like you're teaching him as well how you grieve.
Yeah, totally.
And he's accepting of that. And I think
Totally.
that's so important that they don't, some like my husband, because he was grieving as well. It's like, what's
Totally.
wrong? What's wrong? What can I do? And he wanted to fix everything.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing. I just want to cry. There's nothing to do,
Exactly. Exactly.
You can't fix it. There's no fixing to happen.
Exactly. And there's really nothing, I think when you get into that moment, there's really nothing anyone can do.
No.
Just let me bawl and do my ugly cry, and then I'll be fine again.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you do get through it. Like you have to go through that grief. You have to go through that outpouring of love.
Absolutely.
And then you get on with life. It's like
Exactly. And honestly, I think over the years, I now give myself a lot more permission. If I look at, say, the last 6 to 12 months compared to the first 6 to 12 months, I give myself permission to now, if I need to cry, I just cry. Yeah. And if I'm out in public, then I'm out in public. I mean, I don't make a scene deliberately, but I don't know, because I feel like depressing it and suppressing it just makes it worse when it does come out. And so that's really helped me on my grief journey, I suppose. I give myself permission to do what I need to do. And if I need to cancel everything for the rest of the week because I've got an anniversary coming up or whatever, then I do that. And I now don't feel guilty. And that, I guess that was a big thing, I'm 4 years down the track or whatever I am, I have this expectation of myself that I'm supposed to turn up for other people in whatever capacity. Now, if I can't, I just don't. And that's just the way it is. They kind of take me or they leave me, and most people get it. It's a big one, permission to do what you need to do.
That's right. And not be pushed by friends. Well-meaning friends say, you've got to get on with your life, And it's like, this is my life right now. Right. You've got to learn how to be with me now or not be with me at all.
Exactly. And doesn't that change a lot too? Like the beautiful people that come into your life and the friends that you thought you'd have forever that drift away.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah, because your friends want you to be happy.
Yes.
And it's like, you've got to be happy to be with me. And how many people do you say, they say, how are you? Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like you fall into pieces inside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oops. Should have put that on silent, shouldn't I? Oh, my goodness. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
At least we know it's real, right?
Well, that's right. Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear. Yeah. So you talked about like celebrations and anniversaries. Do you do like you fall to pieces beforehand, like Mother's Day? Do you do anything on Mother's Day? Like what happened?
I don't. I thought about it in the early years to try and actually plan something, but the lead up for me can be so intense sometimes that I just, by the time Mother's Day rolls around, I just want to let it unfold how it unfolds, or birthdays or anniversaries. I don't, a lot of mums I speak to have they do a cake for their child's birthday, or they have a celebration. I had a party for Ben's 18th, and I will probably have a party next year for his 21st. But I guess it's my day to just turn up how I need to turn up.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I had a bunch of kids all message and ring and you know, that kind of thing on the day. And they're probably the only calls I do take. I tend to not, unless it's another grieving parent, I
Yeah.
tend to not answer messages or take calls from anybody else, because I just need to not, I guess,
Yeah.
engage. But with the kids, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with another mother, that's a different story as well. So I don't have a, I guess, a thing that I do as such, but in that works for me.
Yeah, that's right.
To not have a plan,
Yeah.
because, and I guess my fear is, you know, I had a couple of things where I had planned to go out with girlfriends the night before one year, and I cancelled like 24 hours before, because I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I can't. I just, yeah. So for me, it's better not to make a plan, so I don't have the potential of cancelling it then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And I think that's really important that you do what you want to do.
Totally.
Because, yeah, if you know, some people do, they love having birthday cakes, they love celebrating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, doing all that sort of thing, and, you know, going to the cemetery and things like that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, others just don't, you know. I sort of fall to pieces before, and then
Yeah,
the day happens and it's like,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
That's exactly
And I
it. And
remember,
look,
yeah, you remember them. You remember,
oh, for sure.
yeah. So,
For
yeah.
sure, for sure. No, definitely. And it's interesting, because this is what I tell the other mums. You know, I had several mums contact me with, last Christmas would have been their first Christmas.
Mm.
And it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's a Wednesday or whatever day it
Yes.
was. Like, you are allowed to treat it like another weekday. You don't have to buy into this whole 5 million people coming over for lunch and you know, I've got to go present shopping. Like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I got through my first couple of Christmases. It's like, oh, okay, I actually don't have to do this, because the world still keeps spinning on the 26th of December,
Yes.
whether I buy in or whether I don't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And maybe it's a case of harm minimization. You know, what's going to cause me the least stress and the least anxiety or sadness, that's the avenue I'm going to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're all very different. And look, honestly, you know, a lot of parents that I've spoken to, yeah, do the, you know, the big cakes and we're going to the cemetery. And if that works for them, then absolutely you need to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah. 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 And make sure people don't tell you what to do.
Oh,
and
yes.
tell you that you're crazy doing it.
Exactly.
Because I have so many clients come to me and say, oh, my friend said I'm crazy because of.
Oh,
and it's like, oh my gosh, you're grieving. This is grief.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, this is why I want people to know what grief is. Like, you go on with life, but you still love that person and do it the way you want to do. Not
Absolutely.
the way other people want you to do it. And it's not crazy.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, especially when you lose a child, that you always have moments where you feel like you're crazy.
Yeah.
And you only need one person to agree with you, that you just kind of go, oh my gosh, I actually am crazy. Like, now what? Now I've got to contend with that.
Yeah.
One of the best ways I think that I ever heard about explaining grief, and this is how I explain it to people now, is that people think that you move on from grief or you get over grief.
Yes.
And I think the way I look at it now is it's like a big messy ball that you carry with you for the rest of your life, and your life just expands and contracts around that ball of grief, depending on whether it's an anniversary or whether, you know, everything's going well in your life or whatever. But the ball of grief never shrinks or grows. It stays that same messy size, and it's our lives that shrink and grow around it. So
that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that sort of then makes people realize, oh, so you are grieving all the time. You just haven't got an anniversary at the moment, so your life has expanded. And it's like, exactly, but the grief doesn't go away.
No, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I remember being asked at the hospital, a nurse asked
Oh
me,
dear.
have you got 6 weeks later, because it was my twins. And
Mm.
6 weeks later, I was there with my eldest twin, and she said, have you gotten over this yet? And
Oh
I
goodness.
was just so shocked. I just went, oh, yes. And I thought, I am never speaking to that woman again.
Oh my
And
goodness.
she will never know how much harm she did in that sentence.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, there is no ever getting. I remember her face. If I ever saw her
Oh my
again,
goodness.
I would tell her. But, yeah, it's just, I think you've got to know that grief is forever.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think what you do as far as education is so powerful
Mm.
because, you have these open conversations about this is how it actually is, people.
Yes.
And I think our health professionals can get so caught up with here's what I'm supposed to be doing for the care of my patient, but not actually considering the words that they use or the tone that they have.
Yeah, that's
And I
right.
mean, that's
I know.
horrific what happened to you.
Yeah. So that's why I want conversations to keep going about grief and about death.
Absolutely.
People talking about death, dying, and not talking about, passing away or, all the other
Absolutely. Going to
platitudes.
sleep.
Yeah, I know. That's so terrifying for little kids.
Oh my gosh.
Grandma went to sleep and never woke up, and it's like, oh,
I'm never
I'm
going to
never
go
going
to.
to sleep again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in
No,
the
it's.
hospitals, for you talk to
Mm.
other parents in hospitals, in
So,
the children's hospital.
yeah, so I have been involved with several. I'm involved with several initiatives with the Children's Hospital. So they have a peer mentor program that they've been running, and so I connect up with other parents who are just at the beginning on their grief journey, and that's been done in a formal setting with the hospital. But I've also had parents outside of that setting contact me via Messenger or Facebook, and I've reached out to them as well saying, look, I've just heard your story, or please, I'm here. I can't fix this, but I'm here for you. And so I've got a little tribe of mothers that I kind of interact with each of them, and some I meet for coffee, some I've never even met,
Yeah.
and we've been talking for years now, every couple of months. So yeah, but in and around the Children's Hospital, I'm also part of the Good Grief This Hurts symposium, I suppose, that they run each year, which is designed to help young people cope with grief. I'm involved with their remembrance ceremony, which is anybody that's lost a child at the Children's Hospital. So, and I've done various presentations for, staff and executives at the hospital, as well as being on panels for this Good Grief, which obviously goes out to a wider audience of health professionals and bereaved parents and family members and kids and that sort of thing. So
Yeah. Wow.
keeps me busy. It keeps me feeling like I'm making a difference.
Yes, and you are, my gosh. You
Oh,
are.
thank you.
Yeah, you're keeping the conversation going and keeping people knowing that mentioning your child's name doesn't upset you.
Yes.
That's the thing, because you are grieving forever, and then saying Ben's name is, well, for me, I know saying my children's name, it's like, yeah, they existed, like you remembered them.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I think the thing is, our memories stopped being created at the point of death. I can't create a memory after 15.
No.
So by somebody talking about, Ben, or sharing a memory with me, it keeps that alive.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I cry, I cry. The world's not going to fall apart because I started crying one day, and it's that outpouring of love. It's like, oh my gosh, I love him so much that my eyes are leaking.
Yes.
Yeah. We want to protect their memory and keep it alive. So I say to anyone, if ever you have a story or you had a little thought that you remembered of a funny thing that Ben did, and send it to me, like tell me, because I want to know. It gives me energy.
Yeah. And you learn so much about them. They're
Oh,
actually
yes.
different to who you think they are as well.
Yes, yes,
With their
exactly.
friends. So
Exactly, exactly. No, it's quite a thing. But isn't it the most, the most common reason why people don't want to talk about someone that's died is
yes.
I don't want to upset you. I don't
Yeah.
want to make it worse, and I didn't want to make you cry.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But that's for their own comfort, I think.
Yes.
Really, when you're standing with someone crying, it's like, what do I do? I don't know what
Yes,
to do.
that's
Just
right.
stop crying, please.
That's right. You're making me uncomfortable.
Yes, that's right. So people out there, know that you're not going to hurt us anymore. You're not going to upset us anymore.
Yeah,
Just talk to us. Tell
absolutely.
us about our children. Talk to us about our children, about
Absolutely. And say
memories.
their name.
Yeah, say their name. That's the most important thing. So thank you, Dahlia, for sharing Ben with us.
Oh, thank you.
And I how, like, do you said you had parents contact you. Is that a thing that you do? Like, you're on Facebook and
Yes, look, I
yeah.
mean, I've got my website. I am on
Mhm.
Facebook. I'm not hugely active on Facebook, but I do have Messenger. So, I mean, look, I'm more than happy to have people contact me. Probably the best way is to drop through an email, and they can find all of those details on my my website.
Website.
Yeah, so that's just dalyashaw.com. There's a bit more information on there about my speaking and about my writing. And yeah, I'm actually currently working through a diploma of counselling. So in the next sort of 6 to 12 months, then that how people contact me again will
Yeah.
change slightly. Will there
Yeah.
be more avenues?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely open to anyone that needs writing, anyone that just needs to listen, have someone listen to them, or need a speaker or whatever. I'm here. I'm here. So
Excellent. Oh, I love what you do, Dahlia. It's
thank you.
amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I absolutely love what you're doing too. So it's so important and it's so empowering for people.
Yeah.
So for people like me too, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks so much. I'll say goodbye now.
That's great. Take care, Kate.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.